So I grew up reading Harry Potter and I loved it, but it always bothered me how the characters use their wands in combat situations. Harry goes into life-threatening situations all the time, but he never thinks to bring a backup weapon, ever, even by year 7. I mean, it's not like it worked out that well for Ron. The combat left me with all sorts of questions, like, why does the magical wand core have to go into a stick? Wouldn't it be better to put it in something more practical like a knife or a gun? Or why don't they have different types of weapons like an enchanted bag with a dragon in it that they could use like a Pokeball? Now, I know most of the characters in Harry Potter are kids who wouldn't think ahead like that, but what about the adult wizards? At the Battle of Hogwarts, when they fight the most powerful dark wizard of all time, why does no one have anything more threatening than these magical twigs? It's like calling the SWAT team and finding that they have the exact same little pistols as the regular beat cops. These thoughts led to all sorts of questions I had about magic, like, what if I could become Ollivander's apprentice and design wands for a living? If magic was real, what would people actually use it for? How would magic evolve over time? And what events would inspire those changes? Thinking this way inspired me to build a magical world of my own 5 years ago, which I've been developing ever since. So here's the history of wandcraft in that world. In the modern day, the bound kingdoms of America have become the central hub for magical innovations and inventions. However, wands actually had their start in England in 1666, when Isaac Newton invented the first functional wand. The wand he used was what most of us would think of as a typical wand, a stick which he had imbued with magical energy. However, his wand and the other early wooden wands could only cast a single spell before burning out. They soon fell out of popularity among professional and academic magicians who decided to focus instead on more successful magical inventions at the time, such as illusion mirrors and phlogiston machines. Wands had a revival in the late 19th century when a wand mania had taken hold of the magical community in America. Two magicians rose above the masses of would-be inventors, Tomlin Edmondson and Nicholas Least, each of whom contributed a major discovery to wandcraft. Edmondson discovered that metal was much better at storing and conducting magic than wood, and constructed the first non-wood wand in 1891. His wand, which was a copper rod, could cast spells multiple times, a huge innovation. However, his wand wasn't perfect. It could only contain one type of spell, and his aim was unpredictable. Nicholas Least was the first magician to solve these problems with his wand model. The Least wand was not a true wand, but more of a container that held spell cartridges. These spell cartridges were mini wands that worked the same way as the Edmondson wand, but they were designed to be disposable. By having spell cartridges, the spell container could aim the spells more effectively, and the wand user simply had to swap out cartridges to switch the spell they were casting. Since the Least wand became the magical standard for the next century or so, Least is remembered as the father of the wand. Now, unlike with Harry Potter characters, in real life, if you need to defend yourself against someone and something happens to your weapon, you find anything you can use as a backup. So why not make wands designed specifically for combat situations? This was a question a pair of American magicians had in 1862, who wished to help the North succeed in rooting out slavery from the American South. These magicians were Horace Smith and D.B. Wesson, who co-founded the weapons company Smith & Wesson. With the Smith & Wesson design, which is still the standard today, spell glyphs are etched directly into the metal, and they'll only stop working if severe damage has been sustained to the flat of the blade. Combat wands, also known as wand blades, are designed to be used with standard combat motions and are very forgiving. You don't have to worry about getting your swish and flick just right to get the spell to work. However you would naturally move the knife, whether you're slashing, stabbing, or blocking, the spell you've assigned to that movement will automatically be cast. Another benefit of using knives as wands is that you're not limited to just one. If something goes wrong with your main wand, you can just pull out a second, or if you're close enough to your attacker, you can just use it like a regular knife to defend yourself. Now, as great as the combat and Least wands are, they do share a common limitation, which is flexibility of use. Since combat spells have to be engraved into the blade, there's only so much room for spells. Most combat wands will only have room for 4 to 8 spells total, and it's almost impossible to change those spells once carved. While having a limited set of spells is actually ideal for combat where you need to think fast and act quickly, it is not ideal for the day-to-day use of magic. In the case of the Least wand, if you're a professional magician who needs to switch between multiple spells often, your workflow can get irritating and muddled very quickly. Now, this flexibility problem was solved by a combination of two new wand inventions. The first wand is known as the Boron wand, which is also called the Rune wand or the Writing wand, and this was first developed in 1988. The eponymous inventor, Chris Boron, developed this wand to allow magicians to create more complicated and intricate spells. Spell glyphs, which have been the standard since the invention of the wand, were extremely limited to simple, straightforward actions. But with a wand that could code runes, glyphs could be imbued with more detailed instructions, vastly growing the possibilities of spellcasting. The Boron wand remains the most common wand used in professional settings. The second wand invention was created about 20 years later by a team of magicians at the corporation Ambrosia, a magic company known for its beautiful designs. Their wand design includes a small screen on the wand shaft that allows the user to quickly switch between multiple spells with ease. Spells developed by professional magicians using Boron wands can be downloaded onto it, and the wand can store a near infinite number of spells. These wands were actually first advertised by Ambrosia's founder, a man named Joe Market, as 1,000 spells in your pocket, and this was met with wild success. These wands quickly became the most popular wand in the world. Today, they are known as smart wands. Now, you may have questions about how the rest of my magic system works, because the world I've been developing for 5 years has a lot more secrets to uncover, and my wands are only a small part of that. So make sure to subscribe, because next week I'll be taking a deeper dive into my magic system.